Call this meeting of Central Florida Facilitators Toastmaster Club 9958 to order. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. If you are visiting this evening and you have not yet signed our logbook with our wonderful VP of Membership, Roy Wittig, please see him in the back, standing and waiting. Before you leave, if you have a phone or electronic device or anything else that makes noise, go ahead and everybody check that. Thank you. Go please silence them or turn them off. Airplane mode, we have multiple options for you. Restrooms, close by, down this hall, to the left, then they are on the right. At Toastmasters, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Through this mission, each Toastmaster gains a clear understanding of the club's purpose, and the organization as a whole benefits from a shared set of values and goals. Please help me welcome our thought and pledge leader this evening, myself. Our thought this evening comes from Bonnie Ware, who's an Australian nurse, spent much of her life or her career caring for individuals who are in the last 12 weeks of their life. She compiled a blog of their top reasons, top regrets of the dying. And the number one of everybody was, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. She went on to say that most people had not honored even a half of their dreams and had to die knowing that it was due to the choices they made or did not make. Health brings a freedom very few realize until they no longer have it. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. And help me welcome our president, Mr. Mark Lockery.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Before we get started with our regular meeting, we have some business to attend to first. First, I would like to acknowledge our Division C Director, Troy Palmer, who is here visiting us again tonight. We saw him previously. Thanks for coming tonight, Troy. And Dawn and May, it's nice to see you here this evening as well again.
And May's a member.
And May is a member.
All right, May.
We have a first-time visitor tonight, Camille. If you could just please stand up and let us know how you found us, we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you. My name is Camille Dixon, and I'm part of Westwood Toastmasters, which is all the way down by SeaWorld. Quite a drive, but I live here. Wow. Dual roles here, and the fact that I've never been to a different Toastmaster group, so you are my first outside of my home. At the same time, I have a lot of friends in the area, and they're trying to nudge gently into Toastmasters. So it's also a little bit of recon work as well. Thank you very much for welcoming me, everyone.
Also tonight, we have another special thing that we're going to do. We have two new members that we're going to be inducting tonight, and that's Renee and Myra. And so this is how our induction ceremony works. I'm going to ask our Sergeant-at-Arms, which is Richard, to escort you two out of the room. And once you leave the room, the club will have a vote on whether or not to accept you into the club or not. And then if you're accepted, Richard will bring you back in. We'll go over the oath. And if you're not accepted, well, you can just hang out in the hallway for an hour and a half and talk to you after the meeting. This is just a formality. So at this time, Richard, if you would escort Renee and Myra out of the room, I would appreciate it.
We'll go to the store. In the event you don't get voted in, I didn't vote, so.
I don't think we should be.
Okay, Okay, now that they're out of the room, at this time, is there a motion on the floor to officially accept Renee and Myra into the Central Florida Facilitators Club 9958?
Move to officially accept Renee and Myra into.
And there's a second. All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay. Susan, can you inform Richard to bring our secretary right into that?
Yeah, the building standard. Wow. You put it there to discussion. Okay.
Did you have something you want to throw?
Okay.
So I see that both of you are in the room, so that was a good turnout of the vote. Okay, Renee and Myra, membership in Toastmasters is a privilege, and the only way to gain the benefits of our program is to actively participate. Do you, Renee and Myra, promise to be active members of this club, to attend meetings regularly and prepare fully for your duties? Do you also promise to fulfill other points in the Toastmasters promise?
Yes, I do. So let's just say I do.
Okay, do you, members of Central Florida Facilitators, promise to support Renee and Myra as they work through their Toastmasters program?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, it is my pleasure now to declare you installed as members of the Central Florida Facilitators, and we will ask our VP of Membership to come up and present you with your Toastmaster pins.
I'm just going to put them on.
Do it yourself.
We learned it's too dangerous.
We're going to just sit up here, we're just going to quick picture with the camera for social media.
This day and age.
3, 2, 1. Let me get one more, please. 3, 2, 1. Good.
All right. And once again, give them a round of applause. Two more things to announce real quick. We have the district conference coming up November 11th and 12th at World Golf Village in St. Augustine, Florida. I'm sure we'll be hearing more about that probably in a little while. And also, immediately upon conclusion of tonight's Toastmasters meeting, we do have our monthly club officer meeting, and then we'll all diligently go home and watch the debate.
Yeah.
Yes? So let's roll with happiness tonight.
I have it too.
Nobody has the power to make you happy. Nobody has the power to make you unhappy. Nobody but you, of course, and this evening's Toastmaster. Please welcome John D. Yes, like Gandhi. Done.
Good evening, everybody, and once again, thank you so much for being here. I have a shocking announcement that I haven't witnessed yet ever as Toastmaster. As you look at that beautifully crafted agenda, technology is not one of my strong points. There's not a single change on it. It's exactly right. As I have gotten older, I've realized something, and it's become a huge passion of mine. And that's how to be happy. Because for a great majority of my life, I spent it very unhappy and basically faking my way through life. Until finally, the world forced me to let my facade come down and actually start to be who I really was meant to be. And in that discovery process, I really studied that topic. And it's something that is tonight's topic, happiness and resistance. And I am beyond honored to be up here sharing it with you tonight. I'm going to start with a quote from former President Abraham Lincoln. I came across it when I was crafting this up, and I thought it was dead on, very precise. Most people are as happy as they make up their minds to be. Once again, let me repeat that. This is from Abraham Lincoln. Most people are as happy as they make up their minds to be. I had basically grown up using my father as a model. of what it meant to be happy. And that was finish school, get a job, get a house, get married, get a car, get a wife, get kids. And I'm sure for a lot of people that's exactly how it's supposed to be. But for me, that model was absolutely wrong. And I also said in the subject of tonight's meeting that it's going to be about resistance. So what is resistance exactly? Raise your hand if you've ever set your alarm clock to go off in the morning because you had to set it for that time for a reason, and the alarm clock went off and you hit snooze. I think it's virtually everyone in the room. You know, your life will never change until your habits change. And you set that alarm clock for a purpose, and resistance has already defeated you before the day has even begun. Resistance has broke your will. Resistance is also what will break your will to truly be happy. And I brought up the part about my father and the house and the car and all those things because I realize in this world that we were created to love people and use things. And as I look around the room, and I've gotten to know a lot of you, and I'm not picking on anybody, I was one of those people, I thought it was the things. The car in the driveway, the nice jewelry, the electronics, and all those things are as hedonism. And the world really has been sending the message over the last, probably Stephen could answer this better than me, probably forever really, that the message of your life is to go out and get what you want to be happy. If it feels good, you should do it. And it really just leads a lot of people, to quote Thoreau, leading lives of very quiet desperation. So as we go through this meeting tonight, and this is something I've talked about before, I think it's one of those messages that you can't hear ever enough. There's 4 components that will create happiness in your life. And there's only 4, and they make you up as a human being. They're everything that you are. And that is, you have a physical component, you have an intellectual component that makes you happy, you have an emotional component that makes you happy, and you have a spiritual component that makes you happy. And the spiritual component is not me talking about God, that's my own personal belief. Spiritual means something different to every person. You were born with all of those things. The world told you it was more than that. I hope tonight, after I'm Toastmaster, you go home and think about it, you go home and look into this information, and you maybe start your own journey if happiness isn't something that you found at this stage of your life. And before I get into the prepared speeches and the functionaries, I want to just briefly talk about the physical side. And I'm going to ask you to raise your hand one more time. Would you like to have more energy in your life? If you had more energy from morning to night, would that be a situation that created additional happiness for you? I mean, because time is the great equalizer. And if you have more energy in your time, that's a great thing. So, when you sleep well at night, when you put the right things in your mouth, and when you exercise, do you have more energy?
Yes.
So then why in the world do so many people lie to themselves? Because that's your first block of resistance. It was the hardest thing I ever did when I was working with my coach, and him saying, John, you were the common denominator in every one of those situations. And I was like, oh God, that sucks. But it was true. So the first thing you got to do is wake up in the morning and measure yourself physically. Are you a red light, which is stop? Are you a yellow light, which means you're not sure? Or are you a green light? And if you're a green light, ask yourself why you're a green light. In the mornings when you wake up and you're a red or a yellow light, your habits. Remember the habits that got you to the green light. But I want to be kind of harsh. Resistance is when you wake up and you know there's something you should be doing, but you don't do it. You do the opposite of that. And you convince yourself that, well, I got to go do this for some person, or I got this interview or this job. You make excuses. But there's no excuses to not be happy. There's no excuses to ever not take care of yourself. You've got to quit lying to yourself. Now, hopefully that wasn't too harsh. Let's meet our functionaries tonight. They're going to make this amazing meeting possible. First, let's meet our timer. Kristin, what are you going to be doing for us tonight?
As timer, I will keep track of our prepared speeches, table topic speeches, and evaluations. So speakers must speak not less than 30 seconds under the required time and no more than 30 seconds over the maximum time. I will signal the speaker at range minimum with green light, at midpoint with a yellow light, and red light at range maximum. I'll keep track of the time and to report on time to the class.
Thank you, Kristin. Let us meet our fabulous grammarian, advanced communicator gold, Stephen Morgan.
Sorry, I'm older than that. It's still advanced Toastmaster. The role of the grammarian is twofold. The first is to listen carefully to the use of the English language, taking note of the interesting and deplorable uses. And new deplorables will be reported to the general evaluator at the end of the meeting. I will also be providing a word of the day. It is already on the table in front of you. It is cognizant. It is an adjective meaning to have cognizance, or in that case to have knowledge or knowledge of, to be aware of. Or in the case of legal cognizance, in that case it's jurisdiction, such as the court having jurisdiction. The example given, I am cognizant of the learning curve and the importance of understanding the process of manufacturing from concept to delivery. For those of you who are members and have already given your icebreaker, you have a chance to speak, find a way to fit the word in, or pay the 25-cent fine.
Thank you, Stephen. Let us meet a functionary I am very cognizant of. Now be our odd counter, Roy Whitting.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. As odd counter, my job is to be cognizant and keep track of common crutches such as and double clutches, the repetition of a word while the speaker searches for their next thought. I will also note sentences strung together with bridge words like and or so, and will sound a buzzer if any of these infractions are heard. If any speaker does not want the buzzer, please let me know. Fine for each infraction is 10 cents. Guest members who have not yet done the icebreaker will not be buzzed or fined, but I will keep track of their infractions. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Roy. And lastly, our supervisor of elections, distinguished Toastmaster, Susan Morgan.
As your vote counter, I will be cognizant of the Toastmaster's process of telling me when it is time to pick up ballots for the best speaker, best table topic speaker, best evaluator, and most improved speaker. I will tally the results for award presentations at the end of the meeting. I will also pick up comments you might have written for the speakers or actually any meeting participant and deliver the comments to the appropriate person. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Susan. And now it is time for the prepared speeches. Once again, you can refer back to that beautifully crafted agenda. This Toastmaster has completed her CC manual and is now working in several new manuals. Tonight, she is happy to speak on an issue near and dear to her heart. Please help me welcome Emma Rose Hancock.
When you think of special needs, what do you think of? Blindness, the ability to not be able to walk, the inability to hear, or any other such mental or physical disabilities. For me, I know a person who is very near to my heart who is blind, legally, and pretty much basically blind. She can see some, but not completely, which is very hard for her, especially at night, because then she cannot see at all. We used to be in choir together about 4 years ago, and I would have to hold her arm, or she would have to hold mine, so she'd be able to get up the stairs as we would have to go in back around the Performing Arts Center and up into the stage. As well as many other things that I helped her with along the way, as guiding her to her car at a dark night after those concerts, guiding her to her car when it's semi-dark because of clouds and it's raining, making sure she got to where she needs to be. Now this person is very amazing, and her name is Toastmaster. She came here several months ago, and I believe hit it off with him as well. She's a very kind young woman, and has helped me through a lot as I've helped her. And her special need of blindness has given her the opportunity to do different things in her life, such as go up to San Francisco and stay there for a couple of weeks. She could not handle it, though, unfortunately, and had to come back down to Southern California where she lives. She was very upset during that time, and that's one of the things I had to help her through with, because she was getting so upset that she was not seeing her family. Her family was 6 hours away. Now, the other part of this is that she was adopted. She was adopted from Vietnam 8 years ago. Her adoption day, which is adoption day, was March 15th. And every time she brings that up, which isn't all that often anymore, but she used to bring it up quite a bit, is that she says, I could not see. I was completely blind over Vietnam. They did not exactly have facilities that she could get glasses or anything like that down where she lived. She was not living in a populous area, nor was she rich. She was in an orphanage. And her mother had given her up when she was about 10 years old. Came to the orphanage several times to sign adoption papers. She was going to get adopted by a French family and then got adopted by an American family. She actually wrote a book about this. Her first year. And with that, she's had so many problems along with her blindness to have to contend with. New language, new school system, new parents. Actually, first parents, because her other parents were out of the picture. Her father wasn't in the picture when she came into being, and her mother gave her up because she was blind and tried to replace her with 3 more children. Funny! Not fun. She is so amazing. She has gotten a black belt in karate, despite the fact that she can't see very well. She managed to get that black belt in karate. She did tumbling and gymnastics for a while. And she has almost flipped me over onto my back several times. Let's just say that's not fun for me, but it's very funny when you think back on it, that she is, even though 4'9", she is strong enough, mentally and physically, just like me, 160-pound young lady, over onto my back, over hers. So if you're hungry like this, you will eventually be hungry. I would roll, but then I'd hurt my back and possibly hit somebody, so I'm not going to do that. When she came here 8 years ago, I believe, she had such a hard time getting to know her parents and such a hard time adjusting to her glasses. She told me this a couple of months ago, but she did not like to have to do the eye doctor's appointment, still doesn't. Because at first, when she got her glasses, she did not know how to speak English at all. She wasn't understanding what they were saying. All she knew was that they were putting drops in her eyes that hurt really badly, and then she couldn't see for a while, even more than she already could. With everything that has gone on in her life, the adoption, the inability to see, has caused her a lot of problems, along with other things that have happened along the way. But when these things happen, she gets over them, but not over them, gets over that hurdle, and manages to stay on the track of being good and nice, even though at first she was a bit aggressive. I mean, who wouldn't be? They're adopted from a different country, getting driven from place to place, not even knowing what's going on. Her new family is white. And she used to call them really funny names. I don't remember exactly what she had told me it was, but she also used to call them stupid in Vietnamese, and used to cuss out her older sister. And she was like 11. Usually you don't cuss out your older sister when you're 11. You don't usually know those words unless you're in a row, and then you just have to deal with a whole bunch of other people who do not care for you all that much. This person that I mentioned, Trang, is very near and dear to my heart, and is my secret heart.
Thank you, Emma. Now, as I said earlier, well, I'm going to get to that.
You are?
Let's watch this beautiful artistry. As I said earlier, your lives will never change till your habits change. And we all have the habit of showing up here on a Wednesday night to get better as speakers. So we're getting ready to have a 1-minute break, and you'll see one of these slips in front of you. It'll say Speaker 1. Emma wants your feedback. Emma wants to get better. So in the next minute, take a few moments and let Emma know how you felt about her speech, what you liked about it, and something that she might be able to do to get better. Madam Timer, may we have 1 minute? Thank you, Madam Timer. Distinguished Toastmaster Toni Gittles will present project number 8. Get comfortable with visual aids. To complete, her 10 speeches in her competent communicator manual, her 8th one. Starting out with labels like only child, shy, introvert, Toni will take you on a short journey with a very unlikely ending. She hopes to get you engaged with the theme of the District 84 Fall Conference, Steampunked, party like it's 1899, presenting How I Got Steampunked and Expressed My Inner Extrovert. Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster, Toni Gittles.
Labels from my childhood, as you heard. Only child, shy, introvert. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and all the introverts out there, because I know you're there. Transforming from shy to steampunked. Huge leap. How did I do it? Well, you can refer to the photos that I've distributed, and if you turn them over, there's some definitions you might be interested in. Here's the short version. When I was young, I really enjoyed sports. It was a great outlet. I had high energy, I was passionate about sports, and I played a lot of tennis, not group sports. But it helped me release my inner extrovert. But by the time I got to my master's degree program, I really knew I needed another strategy. It wasn't going to be sports that let me out. I needed to rise to a new level. I had to step up big time and unlock this inner extrovert that I wasn't sure was living inside me, you gotta realize, but I was going to succeed. If I was going to succeed, I had to find it. How I did that? I gave a cognizant daily effort to be more outgoing. Over time, and over time here is defined as my lifetime, I did get better. Apparently, I succeeded because half of you think I am an extrovert. And I'm not. I am an introvert. You cannot change that. But you can, slowly and with work, release your inner extrovert. It's a never-ending challenge, trust me. Once you do it, it's not like it's done forever. For example, dressing up in costume has never been my thing. You know, hey, growing up in the 50s and 60s, there was no Halloween superstore. There was no internet shopping. It was hard to come up with a costume. Easier to avoid it. Another example. Any endeavor out of my comfort zone? Nothing. Yet, here we are today. Maybe you're wondering, how on earth did this woman succumb to being steampunked? Doing something that involves both dressing up and something way out of her comfort zone. Most of you have heard of steampunk, and I'm going to explain it more in the way of costuming today. And again, you have the photos to refer to. But how did I get here? There's an answer. There's a real answer, and I want you to pay attention, because this can impact your lives as well. Community, leadership, teamwork, and giving up doing it by myself. Maybe the biggest one. First, Jessica Guthrie, most of you know her. She's the co-founder of this club and a member. One of the most exceptional coaches I've ever had. I found out she was going to be Division D director, and I said, sign me up, I want to work under you. You are so inspiring, I'm going to do this. Then there was the District 84 directors. Everybody, they're so full of life. They know how to have fun. I need this. I need to be around people that know how to have fun. Because I just as soon go home and work my jigsaw puzzles. I need to get out. These are great people. They're positive, they know how to have fun, and the teamwork is amazing. Also, I do have a passion for helping new Toastmasters. My father's words echoed in my ear: if you're going to play the game, play it full out. Because when you play it full out, you get the benefits of playing full out. So I was doing well as an area director, and then the bottom fell out. Oh yeah, the bottom fell out. And it had to do with Stephen Morgan and Susan Morgan. They announced that the theme for the fall conference was Steampunked. What the hell is that? Steampunked? Who ever heard of that? What are we doing? I don't get it. I don't think I can play this game anymore. I'm talking full out panicking. But they were so excited. They were having fun, and they hadn't even gotten started yet. Their excitement, their enthusiasm got to me. And I realized I'm going to have to do this by myself. I'll ask them for help. And ladies and gentlemen, I discovered the internet. Internet shopping. Oh yes, and then I volunteered to do decorations for the Division D contest. Seriously? Decorations? I don't think so. But yes, some of them are on your table. Hey, my jigsaw puzzle expertise came in handy. Look at my steampunk puzzles. There's steampunk puzzles. There's steampunk art. There's steampunk puzzles. There's steampunk music. There's steampunk clothing. There's jewelry. The internet has it all. It's so great. So with a credit card and a Google search engine, I did it all. My purpose today, why am I talking about this? Some of you don't look like you're having fun. I haven't seen you at the area contest. I haven't seen you at the division contest. Look at the photos. That's what fun looks like. That's what happiness looks like. Where have you been? Oh, shoot. Well, are you ready? I'm getting steampunked. I'm going to do it right before your very eyes. And I'm going to need more time. All right, we're talking Victorian. Party like it's 1899. Black skirts will do, but hey, add a little color. How about a steampunk necklace? Put that on, and you're already halfway there. How about shoes? Well, black shoes are okay, but let's get a little bronze in here. Got the earrings on. Bought them, and then we reacted to them. That was fun. I know creative people. How about some gloves? A little lace. Little lace gloves. Little steampunk bracelet. Oh, too late. Here's my lace jacket. And that's it. We all know it's so special. But all in all, you gotta have the hat. Or you're not a steampunk. Okay, are you guys ready to get steampunk with me? Mr. Toastmaster.
Madam Timer, may we have 1 minute on the clock? Please write down your comments for Toni. I know that she loves feedback.
And you can even steampunk your mother. You're free.
Thank you, Madam Timer. Madam Timer, may we also have a timer's report, please?
Okay. Okay, so Emma with Uplift the Spirit, required time 8 to 10 minutes. You came in at 8:18 to qualify. Toni with How I Got Steampunked, required time 5 to 7 minutes. You came in at 7:35.
So there is no need to cast a vote, but Susan will come around and collect your comments. And also do notice on that best speaker ballot that at the bottom there is a little bracket for most improved. Anybody will be able to achieve that award, so do hang on to that. Before we move into the next section, which definitely creates a lot of unhappiness, table topics, a short review. First component that creates happiness is the physical side. I won't sit there and beat that dead horse, but I'll simply present to you a question to ponder. I'll ask everyone in the room, do any of you own $1 million racehorse? Raise your hand if you happen to own $1 million racehorse. Roy Madoff, I'm not surprised. Let's just play hypothetical for a second. If you did own $1 million racehorse, would you feed it Twinkies? Would you feed it candy? Would you feed it Cokes? Would you feed it garbage? And if the answer to that is no, ask yourself, why do you not treat yourself the same way when you've already said you would like to have more energy? And that brings me to the intellectual side. One of my favorites. I refer to watching television as playing in the sewer. It absolutely amazes me that anyone watches Wasting Time with the Kardashians, watches Miley Cyrus, any of those people, because you're guaranteeing yourself to not be happy. Before you turn on the television, and I'm not saying there can't be a small amount of balance to just have some escapism fun, but before you pick up a book or turn on the television set, ask yourself this fundamental question that really clarifies your whole entire decision-making process as a human being. The people in here have seen me ask this one 1,000,000 times. Is what you're about to do going to help you be the best version of yourself? If it's not, it's probably not going to lead to you having long-term happiness. And that leads us into table topics. Our table topics master this evening hails from one of the happiest places on earth. Swing State, rural Ohio. Back then, an enjoyable evening at the Lockery household started with a good, this guy's great at verbal shorthand, Betamax movie and homemade kettle corn. With cow tipping, old Bessie in the factor after dark. Definitely happy times. Nowadays, he has replaced Betamax with Netflix, kettle corn with spaghetti, and Dr. Pepper and cow tipping with, well, nothing will ever compare to cow tipping. Please welcome our table topics master, Mark Lockery.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Being cognizant of the guests in the room, I'd like to give a quick definition of what this section of the meeting is all about. It is our table topic section, and it is where I will look up among the field of people who are avoiding eye contact with me and pick one of you to answer a question that I've prepared on this page, where you, if you accept the challenge, will give a 1 to 2 minute response. And so we will start by first asking our guests, Camille, would you like to participate if I call upon you?
Absolutely.
She's a Toastmaster, come on.
Well, she's a guest here tonight, so I think. But we'll start with some of the members here, so those of you who might not be as familiar with table topics can get an idea of what it's about. So, in 1967, chart topper "Happy Together" by the Turtles, part of the lyrics read, "If I should call you up invest a dime. Kids today probably don't know what that even means. But can you tell me about a good or bad investment that you have made? Richard.
He's an evaluator.
You're a evaluator?
I am.
Oh, I did not know that, sir. Okay, Kristin.
That's good. I don't know that I have a good or bad investment that I've made. I would say, it's kind of it's not really tangible, but I would say a bad investment in friends could have surfaced in my and late middle school, early high school years, where I was hanging out with a group of people that weren't very motivated, but at the time, I don't know that I recognized their lack of ambition or, foresight into their future. So that was probably a bad investment, a solid 4 years of my time. And looking back now, I'm very thankful. You look back and you see the people that you used to be friends with, and you're like, dodge that bullet because they didn't go to college, or they have kids, or they aren't put together. And I'm thankful that your parents made you actually do work and go to school. So that was a bad investment.
All right, thank you. We all know that Happy was one of the names of the 7 dwarfs, or one of the dwarfs in the classic fairy tale Snow White. Roy, if you were a dwarf, what would your name be and why?
Mr. Tabletop Master, I'm going to have to rack my brain here to remember who the dwarfs are. Is Dopey a dwarf? Yes. All right, let's go with Dopey. And it's twofold, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I smoked a lot of dope in high school and college. So that's step one. I must have hung out with the same friends as Kristin, apparently. So I'll go with Dopey. I had a bad habit, got it out of the way while I was young, so I could focus and not put that stuff in this $1 million racehorse as an adult going forward. But secondly, I think I'm a little clumsy, goofy. Just kind of my personality. Quirky is the word I'm looking for. I'm a little bit quirky. So to me, quirky is very synonymous with dopey. It's just who I am. Kind of like a cartoon character sometimes. Sneezy, no. I just can't think of any of the other guys that really fits as well. So we'll roll with dopey. Sleepy, happy, no, not sleepy. I get up and I'm a green light in the morning, Jaye. I'm a green light in the morning. So tabletop master.
As I grow older, I get irritated a lot easier, and I get angry more often. My wife always tells me I need to go find my happy place for a while. Where or what is your happy place? Myra.
I'm trying to quickly think back to see where my happy place is, and I have to say that my happy place is in cooking. I really enjoy making different recipes, going online. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's hypothyroidism, which is an autoimmune condition, so lately I've had to get very creative because I'm doing an elimination diet. So there's a lot of different ingredients that I can't use because of the autoimmune protocol. And I've had to do extensive research, bought some books, and just being in the kitchen and going food shopping, it really brings me into my happy place because it kind of lets my creativity out, and I just come up with these delicious food items. So I would have to say that's my happy place.
I don't have $1 million racehorse, but I do have a cat, and he does like Dr. Pepper for some reason. He's just like me. Arthur Fonzarelli was a role model to the younger kids on the television show Happy Days. Who do you think is a good role model today for our younger generation? Troy.
role model for our younger generation would have to be anybody in a pirate outfit. I mean, seriously, these guys, they go on adventures all the time. They face dangers of the sea. They show the courage. Of course, there is the pillaging, the taking of other ships. That might be not so good. But on the bright side, they have money, and they may have $1 million racehorse. And if you go down to Colombia, they may smoke all that dope as well. But they probably hang out with the wrong kids. But I hear their cooking is real good, because on that ship, they can, whatever they take, the chickens, the eggs, they can cook that up into a great meal. They used to bring a lot of limes and beers back then. The beer was so that they could drink it because it kept the water safe with the alcohol in it, kept it safe to drink. The limes, you could always eat the limes. And back then, they'd also bring pigs over from Spain and release them into the area so they could, when they came back, they could hunt the pigs and use them. I really wasn't cognizant of something that we could do for our younger people, but I think now I have a mission. I'm going to educate younger people on pirates.
Once again, the responses of our members have prompted me to say we do not officially condone drug use or consumption of alcoholic beverages in general. So just the views and expressions expressed by those do not necessarily represent those who support. In the movie Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler was a hockey player turned golfer. What is your favorite sport and why? Renee.
Thank you, Table Topic Master. And the truth is, I am not good at any sport. I do not like sports. I used to fake injuries to get out of gym. So I do not even like watching sports, but I do enjoy going to watching live sports. I lived in San Francisco and I had an opportunity to go to watch the Giants play baseball numerous times, and I enjoyed that for the socializing. So I guess my favorite sport will be socializing. I love to socialize. I love going to sporting events to socialize. I will go to the tennis court, a basketball game in the park just to socialize. So if socializing was a sport, I would definitely be the top-notch socializer in that sport. And thank you, Table Topic Master. If you can get that started, let me know. I'll be on that team.
Sounds good. Food can have an effect on how we feel and make us happy. As you learned earlier, for me, it's a plate of spaghetti and a nice cold Dr. Pepper, and I'm in nirvana. What is your favorite food? Camille.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Come with me. Close your eyes and feel the sweet, watery taste on your tongue. Everyone with me? When you open your eyes, you see sunlight, you see the beach, you see the waves just rolling in. You look down and see a plate. What's it filled with? Grapes and pineapples. My favorite foods are fruits. Grapes and pineapples. I could eat those all day, every day, no matter what time of day. Now, why do they say there are good fruits? These are ultimately labeled as the bad fruits because of their sugar content. Nonetheless, I love them. So as I'm sitting there, whether I'm on the beach or at a mountainside or in my desk at work, you can be sure that somewhere hidden is a stash of grapes and pineapples. Now, while you may look at me funny, I guarantee you that when I go on vacation and I come back, my supply is always nil. Now, why is that? Because everyone knows where I keep my stash. And when I come back and I ask, okay, who was it that took my grapes? It's really quiet. But I know. You love grapes and pineapples too.
As you learned earlier, happiest place on the planet for me is Aurora, Ohio. Susan, what is the happiest place that you have ever visited and why?
The happiest place I've ever visited. Well, of course it's going to be Disney World, right? Maybe. I've visited a lot of places, especially when I was a little girl. My parents took us all camping to all kinds of different places. And we would visit relatives, and we would visit friends, and we would have a lot of fun socializing, and I enjoyed that. And just the camping in various places. Let's see, we went to San Francisco, we went to the Redwood Forest, we went to Victoria, England, or not England, Canada. We went to North Dakota and South Dakota, where the Black Hills are, and where Mount Rushmore is. We had a lot of fun, and I think those places were all happy places, and I had a whole lot of fun doing it. Now, Mr. Toastmaster.
Kristin, at this time, can we get a timer?
You're like very on. 7:43. So, who's going to be my neighbor in the time? You say we didn't call.
You probably have to go by the names so people know what it's for.
Alright, I just qualified by the skin of my teeth at 1 minute. Roy, or Doki, 1 minute and 9 seconds. Myra, Happy Place, 55 seconds. Troy, Role Model, 1 minute and 21 seconds. Renee, Support, 56 seconds. Camille, with the Food, 1 minute and 24. And then Susan, your Happy Place, 1 minute and 8. So, unfortunately, Myra and Renee do not qualify. Everyone else same time.
Okay, please vote for Best Tabletop Speaker. And at this time, I would like to call back our common denominator this evening, Mr. Jonathan Dunn.
Thank you, Mark. Great job as always. Mark is certainly the rare individual I've ever met that can take a very challenging thing like table topics and get so many laughs. Well done, Mark. Before I relinquish control to the general evaluator, we have 2 more areas that will create happiness in your life. And it was funny to me that Roy and Kristin kind of answer the next one. It's the emotional side. People who have relationships that help keep them in alignment with that dream that I shared of being the best version of yourself, those are the happiest people on earth. People that have relationships that encourage you to be the best version of yourself are the best kinds to have. And out of all the components that make up happiness, people that have good, healthy relationships are the happiest. Which also reminds me of a George Carlin quote that I read a couple weeks ago. And I'm gonna, gosh darn it, I wish I had with me. This is kind of random. You know, everybody loves everybody until you tell them the truth, and then once you tell them the truth, you're considered an asshole. But you want people in your life that are going to speak truth into you and not say, oh yeah, that's okay. It's okay that you're on that 13th beer. It's okay that you finished that whole 2-liter Dr. Pepper. And it doesn't mean that they don't love you, but you want to be surrounded by people who speak truth into your life. You want to be surrounded by people that will look at what you're doing, not try to fix you, but say, hey, what are you doing with your life? And that leads me to the spiritual side. Spiritual means a lot of things. So I just want to ask you, what if you lived by the philosophy of everyone that you came in contact with, no matter how they treated you, that you focused in on enriching their life somehow? I mean, because there's certainly going to be people in your life that irritate you. Take, for instance, Toni when she wanted to kick me out of this club. I think probably I can't let that one go, and I need to work on that. So what would happen if you just live by that simple philosophy? It's a Hindu word I learned back in 2008. It was called genshai. It was just one word that could change your life. And I put it up all over my house, and I tell you what, I darn near do a really good job of living it. It's made a big difference. And genshai means never treating someone in a manner that would make them feel small. Never treating or touching a person in a manner that would make them feel small. And then, of course, as we know by now, the one person who doesn't get genshai in your life will be how you treat yourself. It's hard to hear, it's hard for me to say it, but as I'm now 44 years into this world, I absolutely know it is the truth. You will be your only competition as long as you're on this earth. So like Toni said, live all out and love yourself. And I say love yourself because love is the greatest power. And I also love this one. A naked man cannot give somebody their coat. And I also transition that into love. If you don't love yourself, no matter how much you think you can give someone else love, you're really just kidding yourself. And I will close down with this quote that I heard from the minimalists. Great following. The best things in life are free because they aren't things at all. Our general evaluator, savers. Countless everyday joys shared with her daughter on the beach, shopping, or just hanging out together. These moments also include loves and purrs and cuddles from her fat kitty cats. The day-to-day moments have built a lifetime of peace, joy, and love. The best days of all were the day her daughter was born and the day she walked her daughter down the aisle. Rough times come and go, but every day of her life is filled with love and happiness. Please welcome our joyous general evaluator, Jaye Major.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It's wonderful to see everyone here tonight. As your general evaluator, it is my job tonight to evaluate the meeting overall. It's my job to introduce the evaluators of the speeches. My evaluation of the meeting is going to tell us some of the things we are doing great and maybe a few areas of improvement. Just so you guys know what the main job of the general evaluator is. So without further ado, let's move to our first evaluator, and that would be Sarah. Feedback on our speeches is a vital part of how we develop more competence in speaking in front of others. Here to share what worked well and what needs refined in Emma's speech is evaluator Sarah Hunt.
Thank you, General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, our guests, and Emma. Emma's speech was to uplift the spirits. This is project number 2 out of specialty speeches. Thought she was way back on the other manuals, but way more advanced. So good to hear. The inspirational speech, this is what Emma was presenting on. And special needs clearly is a very important topic and one that I think Emma has some close stories and can relate to with her friend Tran. What I really enjoyed about your speech started from the beginning, Emma. You were very poised. The opening was strong. In the past, I know there was some distracting mannerisms and hesitation to get up there and just knock it out. But you stood up there and you were very clear and you knew that first sentence. So I want to point that out because it's a huge improvement, I think, from other speeches. Also,
thought you presented, there were lots of challenges with your friend, Trent, and to talk about those stories from the adoption to choir and having to be able to need assistance walking at night, whereas people that don't have visual impairments, it's not even something that enters their mind. So to bring light to some of those difficulties, going on a trip for 3 days to San Francisco, again, these were descriptives that you put in this speech to make that real. So I thought that was a strong point. There were very many challenges, and I would like to have seen some of the positive, since this was an uplifting speech, balancing how many struggles and how many problems Tran had. And there were talents and qualities that you said many times, I think she's amazing. And so to put that in a stronger manner so we are uplifted would be something I recommend. I thought the gestures were good. In particular, that eye, I couldn't pop my eye open like that. I mean, you have had many doctor appointments or you have contacts, but that scared me. But a very good use of a gesture, because now I can envision myself in that doctor's room, and it is horrifying. I thought the use of the manual talked about having to match emotions, and I could tell there was some sadness to you, because there were some sad pieces to this story and her life. I thought that matched very well. One recommendation that I would like to mention, this was an uplifting speech, and I know the point that you were driving home is your belief, you feel this person is amazing. It was very close to your heart. And I was looking for something that pulled us in, to tie our thoughts and beliefs. And I went to the direction of maybe you encouraging us to help others that have special needs, or look beyond disabilities. Stereotypes are very prevalent, so I thought there was going to be an angle. I made some assumptions, not sure where you were going with your main message. And so that would be some of my recommendations. And I thought you delivered an exceptional speech on a very important topic. So many thanks to you. That is all about
it. Great evaluation as always, Sarah. Thank you. And now let's move along to our second evaluator. By day, he evaluates homes. By night, speeches. Evaluating only his second speech ever, please welcome Richard Sapp.
What's great about Toni is that you know it's going to be an excellent speech whenever her mother. Toni, the purpose of your speech was to use visual aids for the message and the audience, and to do it correctly with ease and confidence. Starting off just with the title, How I Got Steampunked, it immediately piqued my curiosity of what it was going to do. But you started with how you were shy and an introvert, and told the story about how you became steampunked, which was coming out of your shell, which is a story I think that everybody can relate to, being a shy introvert at any point. You reference sports to help you bring that out of you. Even in sports, I think whether you're the new player, you're not very good, you still have those feelings of being shy and introverted. So it's difficult to do, and it's something that I think we all can relate to very well. Your speech consisted of multiple visual aids, from dress to the posters and the decorations, as well as my personal favorite, the handouts on the table, which were fantastic. Your vocal inflection, the stresses that you used, and the sheer emotion behind the story, I thought were excellent. Clearly something that you were very passionate about. So excellent eye contact with everybody. Eye candy. Well, when you started getting dressed. The purpose of your speech was to use visual aids. So if I'm going to give any sort of improvements with your visual aids, I'm glad that you referenced the posters. For a minute, I wasn't sure if you were actually going to do so or not, if they were just hanging out there for good measure, but you did. The handouts, you told us to turn it over, and you have some things, and when I did, I saw a novel, which immediately turned me off and not wanting to look at it or read it. If I would, bullet points or something more paraphrasing, just to give us like a quick rundown of what Steampunked is. Dress, we know that it started, we could have started getting dressed maybe a little bit earlier, because we could have, and don't acknowledge the timer. You know it's coming on late, just say don't acknowledge what is going on. Oh, I'm out of time, got it. Keep going, power through. Love the enthusiasm. I love how you correlated the message of your story with the conference itself, help promoting the conference that's coming up, and but really enjoyed. I know you were kind of last minute with the speech because somebody backed out, so I don't know if you had this planned previously or you just came up with these in the last day or so, but I thought how you referenced your cards was not very distracting. You were still up front talking, but you would come back and refer to them. I thought that was textbook on how to handle that, so overall I thought it was very good. Thank you very much.
Much richer, great evaluation. Now we need a timer's report.
So both Richard and Sarah qualified. Sarah had 3 minutes and 26 seconds, so right on the wire, and then Richard with 3 minutes and 11 seconds.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, now it's my turn to talk a little bit about our evening tonight and how our meeting went. We had a fabulous meeting so far as I'm concerned. We started on time, and Kristin reminded us on the way through how well we stayed on time, which I found to be rather interesting and cool. Maybe we could incorporate some of that from the timer as we go along in the future, because I had never seen that before. It was kind of nice to know sitting back there. So just an interesting little tiny tidbit, but that was fun. I love the recognition that we're doing for new members when we get new members in. I'm hoping that for you guys, for the new members, it gives you some ownership and makes you feel like you're a part of the club right off the bat. That's what I believe it's really intended to do, to welcome you in and make you feel like you're important to all the other members that are here. So Mark was the person that actually suggested that we get to doing that. I think it was something that this club used to do and some other clubs may do, but I definitely vote for that when we have new members to bring in. John, your topic was great. You always have something that tries to bring us something to do with our life and uplift our life, to give us some insights into doing better. And as usual, you really hit the mark again.
Thank you.
I love the speeches tonight. We had some great speeches. I really liked the topic that Emma had, and I wanted to hear more exploration. Emma, you did a great job. You haven't had a speech in a while, and I really appreciated that you got up here. Toni, you're advertising the conference. What a great way to do it a couple of weeks before the conference, and to get people who might not really know what it's about and know how much fun it really is, interested in wanting to go and wanting to participate. I I loved that. I loved that hook and the connection, but the whole speech was just a fun speech. And I wish the costume change had worked out better for you, but that was a great advertisement, and all the clubs should have somebody doing that. The table topics had great variety this time, and there were some things that I heard that really kind of piqued my interest. Your favorite sport? Socializing. Yeah, that's what I used to be an athlete, but nowadays it's socializing. So that's a fun one, Renee. Camille, grapes and pineapples. Well, where did that come from? You must be from the islands, but I'm with you there, especially on the pineapples. I thought that the table topics questions were a lot of fun. Overall, I think our meeting was really good, and I really want to take to heart what we're doing with bringing in our new members and making them feel welcome.
Functionary Reports.
Okay, it is time for the Functionary Reports. I will do that. So let me have our grammarian first.
Madam General Evaluator. More people apparently were cognizant of the word of the day today. I heard it from Jonathan, Roy, Susan, Toni, Kristin, Mark, and Troy. The rest of you that had the chance, members that have given their icebreaker, pay off. In terms of the use of the English language, Jonathan, I'm going to start with a quote. Gonna, and by the way, that wasn't what you started with, so I don't know why you decided in the middle you were going to start again. You talked about there are 4 things, and then you said, and that is, those are. Are you a red light, yellow light, or green light? I'd like to know if we still get 30 seconds. And I want to be kind of harsh. There's no such thing as kind of harsh.
True.
Everyone laughed at deplorables. I was glad to sneak that one in there. Emma, the ability to not be able to walk.
Yeah, I know.
lovely oxymoron in there. That was good.
I am sorry if I have trouble speaking when I'm in front of a whole bunch of different people. Isn't that what
This is my job to point these things out. Defining over time, Toni, that was interesting. You loved using full ouch in many different uses. Succumbing to being steampunked. Mark with his field of people who are avoiding eye contact. Then Troy, that might be not so good. I'm still trying to figure out this one, Jonathan, because a naked man cannot give somebody their coat. Whose coat? There, I'm assuming you're using it as the singular form, in which case the indeterminate singular. Is it the naked man or the somebody? Why is he giving them their own coat? Because that's the way a pronoun's supposed to work. It's the closest one you gave. The somebody was the closest one. I was like, why? How? He's not naked if he has their coat. Oh, by the way, the Carlin quote you're aiming for is everyone wants you to be honest.
Yes, that's
until you're honest with them.
Right.
Then you're an asshole.
I
And I don't know what your problem is with hedonism, because the hedonists, yes, they go off into pleasure, but they're also the ones who know how to be in the moment, and that's where happiness comes from. Jaye, without further ado, ado means nonsense, which means everything you just said was pointless. The phrase itself is trite and a cliche, and I'd love to see it disappear. But I love seeing the use of eye candy as well. And I love how you just tell John that you really hit the mark again. Now I'm waiting for Mark to hit him back. Madam General.
All right, Mark, it's your turn. Now, can we hear from the odd counter, please?
We have several folks who made the Ring of Honor this evening with 0 odds, and that would be Toni, Mark, Richard, and Steven. I just made that up tonight, the Ring of Honor, so.
That's more like a square.
Do a square of honor. So, Emma, I just had 1 for you. Emma, great job. Kristin, I had 4 odds and owns and 4 likes or so's. Jonathan, just 2. Myra had 3. Troy had 1 for you. Renee, I just had 1 for you. Camille, 1 for you. Susan, I had 4. It was primarily 3 like ends or so. I think it was mostly the ends, if I'm not mistaken. Sarah, 1, and Jaye had 5 for you total. Thank you.
Thanks.
Most improved.
Most improved. Yes. We have to have time to vote for most improved.
You can turn it over to my comment. Mark? Oh, I've got some. Any more most improved?
While Susan is gathering the votes for most improved, I'd like to just ask Camille, what did you think of the meeting since you're visiting us for the first time?
Once again, thank you all for welcoming me. It was an honor to be a part of your club for this meeting. I thought it was wonderful, really, I did. I have to say that you have amazing grammatical skills. I kind of want to acquire you for just a little bit. Other than that, the speeches were wonderful. The evaluators were very positive. I loved the tone, and there are a lot of characters in this club. I really like that as well. If you were taking it very lightly, would be in the topics, table topics. And thank you everyone. I appreciate it.
And Troy, visiting us this evening, what did you think of the meeting?
It's always a pleasure coming here, for sure, except for Steven. But he's always the evil grammarian. There's always one. But that's how we learn. It's wonderful. And I agree. The characters here are wonderful. Really enjoy it. Never had a bad meeting here. I always come back. It's always fun. Thank you very much.
With Steven, we always get very thorough grammarian remarks, and with Jonathan, he always seems to work the word naked man into every speech. I don't know how he does it. I don't want to know what his inspiration is.
The naked man and the cow tipping we got.
It is true now. Real quick, the agenda. Does anybody know where the agenda is?
Oh, yeah, where is it? Where did it go? I didn't see
I never
it.
saw it. It started on the front
Over there
table.
with Roy. That's it.
Roy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
All right, so we have, next week is our Halloween meeting. We need a Toastmaster, or shall we say Ghostmaster. Who wants to do the Ghostmaster? Is that you, Toni?
Oh, gosh, no, I thought you were gonna do it.
Okay, so who
I
wants
can
to
do it. I can do it. Wasn't I just Toastmaster? I can do it.
But officer meeting on this, you jumped
Oh. Oh, you know, maybe, I can't remember.
Okay, well,
I usually wait for you.
let them duke it out
I
and
usually
come
wait for
up
you
with a
to.
plan.
Thunderdome.
If you wanna do it.
We have John and Sarah giving speeches next week. Jaye will be table topics. Jessica will be an evaluator. And Mark is out. So I'll pass this around some more, and then if anyone, otherwise I'll just start sticking people in.
Okay. week, also, since it's a Halloween meeting, it is a themed meeting, we will be having our 50-50 raffle. So bring your cold hard cash along with your costumes.
Yeah, bring your cold hard cash.
Maybe we'll give an extra prize for the most politically incorrect costume that wants to
There we go. And what about snacks? Should we bring some spooky snacks?
Yeah, we can.
I think we should try and, if everyone will just bring in a spooky snack, that would be, cover everything.
Did you say Scooby snack?
A spooky snack, yeah.
Spooky snack, go to work.
We'll bring it back in.
And then also, as soon as we get done with the awards and our meeting, we have an officers meeting. Speaking of which, are you ready for some awards? Awards! Tim Chastain Award goes to a contributing member who helps facilitate the meetings and make them a success. Tonight's man not only works behind the scenes, sets up the video camera every week, edits the tape, posts it on YouTube for us to watch them, but tonight he gave us some very insightful Marion reports. So tonight's Tim Chastain Award goes to Mr. Stephen Morgan. Our most improved award tonight, Kristin Williams. Spot on timing. They do timer every week. Our best table topics award tonight, Camille Dixon. Our best evaluator award this evening, Mr. Richard Sapp. And our best speaker award this evening, Emma Henry. Anybody have any other business before we adjourn the regular meeting? Meeting adjourned.